I decided it's time to take on the hardest challenge run in Borderlands 2, the 1 life challenge. For this challenge, there is a lot of micro rules, but let's go over the basic. If you die, the run is over. If you are in danger, whether enemies surround you or in fight for your life, you must get a second win and be safe first before you can save quit. The goal, get to OP10, reset your playthrough, and beat all the content. This challenge is no joke, and only a few people have completed it. So, without further ado, here's my story of 1 Life 0. Enjoy. We start at Windshield Waste in normal mode and head immediately to DigiPeak. Over at DigiPeak, we have a really cool XP farm with the rabbits. It is a bit risky, but I mean, with it being super duper early on, if the character was to die now, it's not hard to get back to this point. So, we take the risk and we farm all the way up to level 9. From here, we head to the Fight for Sanctuary DLC, which is also very overleveled. And we're here to get a Jacob Sniper because Jacob Snipers are really good. We kill Boom Boom, and because we farm XP at the rabbits, we don't have to farm him for levels at all, which is quite nice. For Captain Flint, if you stand in a specific spot, he just won't move and you can just take him out very easily. Like, he doesn't even attack you. So good. We head to Sanctuary, we say hi to everybody, and we're off to farm more XP. Now, there is 2 ways we can go about this. We can farm the 4 Assassins, or we can farm Savage Lee. Savage Lee is a lot safer, so we went that route, and plus you get a Herald, which is quite nice. But for the Herald, we didn't even actually use it at all. But it's still nice to see one, you know? After getting level 13, we head to Frostburn Canyon. From here, we farm the red chest, which is scaled to level 13, so we can get a bunch of new upgrades. But the biggest upgrade is going to be the Lascaux, because the Lascaux is so freaking good, dude. We meet Lilith, we mob, and then we head off to get a fastball. Now, the fastball isn't needed, but it's really nice to have one. From here, we meet Bad Maw, and fastball. Yep, we fastball one-shot him all the way up until level 18. We head to Wham Bam right after to farm the level 18 red chest, and it gives us a new Jacob Sniper and a quad. Quite nice. We burned through Bloodshot, and it was time to save Roland. Newly farmed gear versus underleveled boss. Yeah, pretty easy. We head over to Tundra to fetch quest a bit, and then we fight Wilhelm. Fastball. Yup. At this point, Sanctuary takes off, and we have to make our way to the Highlands. It's just a bunch of mobbing, so I won't bore you with the details. Sanctuary comes back, and now I'm actually going to go out of my way to get a low-leveled Fabled Tortoise. You see, for 1 life, there's going to be a lot of farming needed for the run, and by doing the low-level Fabled Tortoise strats, we can actually run around and farm even faster. We'll talk about that more later on. Blue drops a Fabled Tortoise, and I also get myself a Heartbreaker, and then it was time to go do Clan Wars. In normal mode, there is a lot of XP farming needed, so we're doing this mission mainly for the XP and the Slaga and the Maggie. Now, we head off to the Wildlife Preserve, and with the Slaga and the Maggie, it goes as expected. Also, this engineer gets stuck in the Matrix, so we have some fun with him. Jump damage kill. We fight Bloodwing, and with our newly found damage, like, we could just wipe her out before she has a chance to fly away. At this point, I really want to get myself the Ruby Pistol, because that 12% healing is really good. And for 1 life, I need that. So we do Mordecai's side mission and get him some booze, and then we don't give it to Mordecai, we give it to Moxie because we want the Ruby. We did do a little bit of farming to get a slag one, and that was good enough. Time for 1000 cuts, and it's pretty straightforward. Just a bunch of mobbing and not dying to mortars. Easy peasy. At opportunity, we take down the body double and get the voice modulator, and then we're off to the bunker. Haha, just kidding. We're going to Lynchwood because I want to get myself the sheriff badge, and I suppose also the deputy badge. Why not? Lynchwood is a pretty scary map. All the enemies are on level, and my Slaga and my Maggie are slowly dropping off, so I need to be really careful. Anyways, we get the sheriff badge and the deputy badge, so we now have, you know, good pistol and shotgun stats. And then it's time to go off to the bunker. Alright, I'm joking again, we're actually going off to Scarlet DLC, because I want to get myself a really good blue class mod, and I also want to upgrade my gear before we take on Bunker. We pick up the Grendel quest, and Grendel derps out. I don't know what happened, he just like started dancing. And then we farm up a Shadow Stalker comm, which is really good on Zero. Follow Through and Rise and Shot are both really good skills for gun builds and also for melee builds. Then we farmed a Rustless Orphan Maker for fun, and it took quite a while, but you know what? I like big damage. After that, we headed back to Hater's Folly to kill Sandman and Big Sleep, and we grabbed a random Rapier Assault Rifle too. At this point, I need to upgrade all of my gear, my shield, my random weapons, so we're gonna farm the 4 red chest here. We upgraded a few things, and then I decided, you know what? Let's just go get a Lyuda. The dust scaled recently, so we can just, you know, get a nice corrosion Lyuda. I just want to point out, I'm like super over farming in this 1 life, but I don't do 1 lives very often, so I don't really mind the grind. We hit level 27, and we were pretty much ready for Bunker now. Except I decided to go to Torg DLC and get a Corrosion Kitten instead. Yeah, I didn't really plan this run, I just kind of did what I wanted to do. But I promise, after this, we're going to Bunker, alright? I promise. With our beautiful Shadow Stalker comm, we did Roidless Melee, and this actually works really well in normal mode because like the scaling's not too harsh. And we just simply poked our way through all the combat and got ourselves the kitten. This thing is gonna shred Bunker. We shred everything on our path all the way up to the bunker door, and it was now time for the big loader boss. the B&K3R. We sit back in a safe spot and slowly whittle him down, and of course, you know, he's not going to drop a sham. He never does. And then it was time for Control Core. This map is super exciting, and I cannot wait to... With Control Core done, I decided to farm the loot room right after. And for One Life, it's really important to keep your launcher on level if you need a second wind. So we farmed a new launcher. Ideally, we never need it, but it's good to have it as a backup. Up ahead was Iridium Blights, but I decided that we needed a little bit of XP before we proceed on. With the current route, our choices are either farm Mobley and Gettle or farm King Mong. I decided to farm Mobley and Gettle one more time to get level 30, and it really didn't take that long. Now, we are coming up on Sawtooth Cauldron, and that map is scary, so I decided to head back to Scarlet DLC and pick up my level 30 Pimpernel. The Corrosive Kitten from earlier shreds through the Washburn Refinery, and I picked myself up a Slag Pimpernel. I'm going to be using this thing for the whole entire run. It's just way too good. After I got that, it wasn't too much further for the Sandhawk, so I figured I'd get that too. Surprisingly, I pulled a Flying Corrosion Sandhawk in just a few runs. Yeah, luck works in mysterious ways. From here, we head to Sawtooth Cauldron, and with the Slag Pimpernel, everything just dies. Even the buzzards. Sawtooth done. We head over to the Boneyard, and I figured, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get a B-Shield. B-Shield's really good, and I figured with the Flying Corrosion Sandhawk and a B-Shield, we could easily farm Saturn for a bunch of XP. I get myself the B-Shield, we quickly clear this map, and it was time to farm Saturn. Dude, look at this. Boss. That's so good. Yeah, easy farm is easy. We farmed Saturn for level 33, and of course he doesn't drop me anything good. And it was now time to go get a nice Lady Fist. For normal mode, I always like to get a zoomy Lady Fist, so I usually go for the Hyperion Sight. It allows me to sit back really far with the B-Shield and just pick off my enemies long range. At this point, we are at the end of the main story, and we just Lady Fist our way through the rest of it. Jack dies in a couple of bullets, and the Warrior dies in a couple more. And then I figured, you know what? Let's go ahead and farm Warrior for level 35. Oh, also, Warrior dropped me a casual Flacker, so we're gonna use that for Snowman DLC. Also, PSA, the Flacker is really, really good. It just sucks to consume so much ammo. We killed the Snowman with the Flacker, and then we're gonna farm this red chest for a few upgrades. Also, remember earlier I said we're gonna do speed strats with the Fabled Tortoise? Now is the perfect time to do it. So what we're going to do is drop the Fabled Tortoise and then shoot our Orphan Maker. And by shooting the Orphan Maker, we're going to take self-damage and keep the Fabled Tortoise shield down. That gives us a 50% movement speed all the way to the train chest. The farm is now faster. I find a better launcher and Singularity Grenade. And if from here, I want to farm Snowman all the way up until level 37. We are approaching TVHM, but before we head there, I do want to get myself a Thompson. So we head to fight for Sanctuary DLC and grab one out of the grave. And this weapon's going to carry us for quite a while. We are now ready for TVHM. So we can officially say, normal mode, done. Now for TVHM, I'm not going to spend too long on it because it's a lot of the same thing we did for normal. So with the Thompson, we spray down Knuckle Dragger. Right after, the next boss is Boom Boom, and they both die too. Man, the Thompson's so good. It just requires a lot of clicking, which is annoying, but big damage. We then spray down Captain Flint, and you get the point. If we're doing this kind of damage to bosses, then you can only imagine the mobbing being even faster. So I don't feel like I have to show that. We race our way to Sanctuary, we leave Sanctuary, we then go to Frostburn Canyon, spray down a bunch of enemies, and now I want to get myself a fastball. Again, fastball's extremely good, and, you know, for One Life, you definitely want that. For the first one, a bull drops a fire one, which is going to be great for Bad Maw, but I do want one for general combat, so I want to make sure I don't get only a fire one. So in typical bull fashion, when you're trying to farm for a specific element, he just doesn't drop it. After farming 2 levels off him, we get another fire one, we get another corrosion one, and then we finally get a shock one, which is good enough, I guess. I was trying to get explosive, but that's fine. We have most of the elements. Now, I do want to highlight this part because we are at the dust, and if you don't know, if you have the B-Shield on, you can transfer the amp to your car bullets, so it makes getting the car parts a lot easier and safer. Now for Bad Maw, fastball. And even more fastball, because I do want to stay on level for the main story, and for TVHM, Bad Maw is a really good XP farm, so we farm him for a long time to get level 43. At this rate of leveling, our Thompson has dropped off pretty significantly, so I need to get a new gun, and I figured, you know what, let's just go to Scarlet DLC and grab another Rustless Orphan Maker. This one took forever to get, my luck was really, really bad, but we got T-Door Grip and whatever, good enough. As long as we have Rustlers, it's going to be big damage. I should mention too, we have a really cool synergy here. When you get a kill with the Rustless Orphan Maker, you're going to activate the Grim skill, and Grim is going to give you shield regen for a short time. That means that the self-damage from the Orphan Maker is not really ever going to hit my HP. Quite nice. Now for Warden, boss. Now for Wilhelm, also boss. And then we make our way to the Highlands and take on the Gluttonous Thresher, and because we got all the fastballs, might as well just use a fire one. He dies pretty fast. And at this point, I do want a better shield and launcher, and also one more level to scale up the main story to maximum scaling. So we go to Snowman DLC, finish that with the Orphan Maker, and also get a nice launcher and shield out of the chest. We farmed Snowman to level 45, and then it's back to the main story. Then it was time to head off to the wildlife preserve, and during Snowman farming, I didn't mention this, but we found a beautiful Assault Overkill shotgun, like really good roll. The Overkill made really easy work of Bloodwing, and that was wildlife. Done. We head to 1000 Cuts, do a bunch of mobbing, and safely dodge the beacon mortars. Yeah, you gotta be careful with those mortars because they will mess you up. We had the opportunity to take out the body double, get the voice modulator, and then we head up to the bunker. No, okay, I'll stop. We went to Torg DLC and got ourselves the kitten because the kitten works really, really well. You know, it has like corrosion damage for loaders and also gives you a little bit of healing. It's really not needed, but it's just a comfort weapon. Anyways, we get a corrosion kitten and then it was time for the bunker. For real, for real, for real. Funny thing about TVHM is because you have more skill points compared to normal mode, TVHM really is just easier than beating normal mode. It's kind of funny. Anyways, bunker spawns in, and you're probably wondering, dude, you're playing Zero, why are you not using Boar for the insta-kill? I don't know why, but to me, Boar just feels kind of like cheaty, at least for one life. So I usually don't grab it until UVHM. I could grab it early, but the boss is really not that difficult. Just a personal preference. We had the control core, and now we're pretty much heading over to Sawtooth Cauldron. To be safe, I go out of my way and get a Heartbreaker because Heartbreaker, you know, fire damage on flesh. And also that healing is very, very nice, so that's going to be quite nice for Sawtooth Cauldron. But before we head there, I do want to hit level 48, so we farm King Mong for a little bit. Unfortunately, he doesn't drop a bada boom, but that's okay. Over at Sawtooth Cauldron, this happened. We get a second win, and everything goes as according to plan. Oh, and Mortar dropped us a Longbow Pandemic low fuse, so that was quite interesting. And then I pick off all the buzzards with a random sniper I found. I could use the kitten, but it didn't really matter. As I stated before, this is a very similar path to what we did in normal mode, so we are going to get another B shield. And I went nearly 30 kills to get one B shield. My luck with the B shield is never good. On top of that, he dropped me the worst roll, which is double bandit parts. So we rolled the lowest amp damage you can roll on the B shield. But I didn't make a big deal of it, and I continued on. It is funny though. We approached Saturn, and with our old Corrosion Sandhawk and the newly acquired B shield, he died stupidly fast. We're at the end now, so I used the Corrosion Kitten to finish off the combat in front of the Heroes Pass door. And then I rushed my way through Heroes Pass, and check this out. I get a second win with a very underleveled launcher. That is a good example of why you should upgrade your launcher in One Life regularly. I thought, oh, you know what, we'll probably be okay, so I'm not going to farm a new launcher along the way. And sure enough, we fell in a fight for your life, and it was not really that close, but it does show that you should probably have a launcher on level as often as you can. We got through Heroes Pass and made our way to the final boss, and then I make one of the stupidest mistakes you could ever make. While derping around swapping my guns around in my hand, I accidentally dropped my Lady Fist on the ground near the fast travel. I need that for the final boss. I can't save quit, so I need to find a way back up there. I try grenade jumping, I try a little bit of parkour, but with the lava so close to my feet, I don't want to risk, you know, parkouring the wrong way. So I left the Vault of the Warrior and ran through Heroes Pass a second time. Luckily, this time around it was a lot safer, and I was able to make it back to the Vault of the Warrior. And I found my Lady Fist sitting right there on the ground. Thank goodness it didn't despawn. There it is! Oh, man, what did I do? And now we take on the final boss. V-Shield Lady Fist takes down Jack, and V-Shield Lady Fist takes down the Warrior too. And with that, we have successfully completed TVHM. But now we have a crap ton of farming to do. We need to gear up for UVHM. I then spent 2.5 hours farming a fire conference call, and I did plan to use this for Hatterax, but turns out for the run, I never actually used it. If you don't know, once you beat TVHM, everything in the game scales to level 50, so we farmed ourselves a Fire Lady Fist, a new B-Shield, and luckily this B-Shield dropped fast and it had godly parts. Unfortunately, it was one level under, but for how good the parts were, I decided to take it. Using the Fire Lady Fist and B-Shield, we did farm savagely for a new Herald, and then we head back to Scarlet DLC because I need a new class mod. Like usual, we do the Grendel quest, and we are looking for the Tricky Spy class mod. Seems kind of random, but I will explain why we need that for later on. We get that, and I go do the side mission Home Movies, and for this mission reward, you get a guaranteed double blue relic. So we farm that for a bit to get a shock relic. I'll explain why I need that later on too. It's very, very important. I go back to Scarlet DLC and I get myself a Fire Pimpernel. Many things for early UVHM are weak to fire, so this thing is gonna shred. Now it was time for the dreaded Bada Boom farming. Look, I love the Bada Boom, it's a really, really good launcher, but farming for it sucks. King Mong's not a guaranteed spawn, and the drop chance is not 1 in 10 for this item, it's 1 in 20. Yeah, in his loot pool he can drop a skin drop, and that item eats up your Bada Boom drops. Luckily, I did get a Bada Boom in like 5 kills. It was 1 level under, but it's strong enough to carry me for a little bit. For our final farm for TVHM, we get ourselves a fastball. We are now ready for UVHM. We start UVHM and immediately head to Tina DLC. At this point, the Ruby's a little bit risky for healing in UVHM. Like, it does work, but the Grog Nozzle's so much more healing. There's only like 2 scary parts on the way to get the Grog, and that's going to be killing the 3 dragons after you meet Roland, because if they snipe you with 1 damage over time, you're just dead. We sit really far back and pick them off with the B-Shield and Lady Fist. The second scary part's going to be the 4 kings. They don't move very fast and they're pretty easy to dodge, but if you do get hit, they hit for a lot of damage. Not to mention, if you fall in a fight for your life here, the second winds are awful. One, you have eternal skeletons, which cannot be second winded because you have to pull their sword out to kill them. So if you were to kill one of them, they would just like fall down and just like not give you a second wind. And 2, the other skeletons are going to be focused on Roland, so you're not going to have a line of sight if you're, far away. So best course of action, don't fall in a fight for your life. Just like before, we do the B-Shield and Lady Fist, and we can use the Herald to wipe out their skulls. And just like that, the Grog is ours. Now we head to fight for Sanctuary DLC because I need to unlock the Bone of the Ancients farm and the Topnia farm. These things are going to carry for UVHM, and I need them. Using the Fire Pimpernel, the plant enemies die pretty easily. We meet up with Vaughn, say hi, and then we head out to go get brain samples for Tannis. I just want to point out this is one of the hardest DLCs in the game. The new Pandoran enemies have E-Techs and crazy guns all the time, so getting hit by 1 bullet from them will wipe all your HP away. So we need to safely mob, chuck down Teslas, and hug our Grog Nozzle. Like, I'm not swapping away from the Grog until I'm full HP. Just like before, we use the Fire Pimpernel to pick them all off, and we get the brain samples. And then we go meet up with Mordecai, but he's in danger. In this area, you usually get 1 to 2 marksmen, and they always have a crazy sniper every time, and so I need to make sure I don't catch a really, really bad damage over time. Like, if you take a damage over time and then kill off the marksman, that damage over time can still stick to you and then put you in a fight for your life after everything's dead. You have to be really, really careful here. Mordecai gets infected, so we are off to try to save him. And at this point, we actually have unlocked the Loot Midget farm. But unfortunately, we cannot get the Bone of the Ancients yet because they don't drop yet. Those items came out with the level cap upgrade, so if you're not level 61 at least, then they cannot drop. So we have another 10 levels to go. We meet up with Brick and take down all the plant dudes with our Pimpernel, and then we head off to Helios Fallen. It was at this point I realized that I don't have a good corrosion option for all the loader mobbing up ahead, so I resorted to using my very underleveled kitten that we got in TVHM. It worked fine, but it wasn't the best option. Also, I could have used my really, really old Corrosion Sandhawk with the B-Shield, but keeping the B-Shield up in bullet combat's really, really annoying. Now it was time for a really hard boss fight. Oh, sorry. B-Shield Sandhawk. Yeah, they made this arena really small so the giant boss cannot even function right. So we just go up to the 2nd level and he's like, yo, where'd he go? Easy kill. Coming up ahead, we do unlock the future Tubby Spider-Ant farm. But halfway through, I'm like, wait, I'm playing Zero and I really don't need the legendary comms. So we don't need the farm Tubbies at all for this run. We enter Mount Scarab and use Deception to stealth past all the enemies. And then it was time for a 2nd boss fight. Using the B-Shield and the Pimpernel, he just melts pretty fast. Cassius really isn't that bad of a boss. But who is a bad boss coming up ahead is Hector, and Hector is no joke. In the back of my mind, I'm like, dude, this could actually be the end of the run. This guy is really, really hard to kill. So I take a deep breath, jump into the fight, and this is how it went. Safe and slow. Safe and slow. Dude, I feel like it's a waste of time to even bother with the enemies. They're just non-stop, so why bother? I'm not getting many grenade drops. That kind of sucks. Ah, you got me. No fight for your lifeless. Boss. Wasn't even bad. 1 fight for your life. We did it. I was happy to get that done. I scoop up the Iridium and DLC complete. Well, not quite. We do have to do a little bit more farming. You see, in order to farm the Topnias efficiently, I need the Toothpick and the Retainer. Vaughn has a side mission called The Hunt is Vaughn, and during this mission you can kill 2 Sandworm Queens. They have a super high chance to drop the Toothpick and Retainer, so we sit really far back and we pick them off. After a little time, I did get both the drops, and then we headed over to the launcher farm at the Writhing Deeps. If you don't know, if you hold the Toothpick Assault Rifle and have the Retainer Shield on, in this map only, you will get extremely fast movement speed and jump height. With those, we're able to jump up to the secret launcher chest, and first try, we get ourselves a Shock Topnia. That'll do. From here, I decided, you know what, let's have a little bit of fun. I'm feeling pretty confident. Let's do some melee for UVHM. I just want to point out, melee in a 1 life is not ideal. It's, kind of risky. But I really don't understand my mindset that day. I just wanted to do it, so we took the risk. We head back to TVHM to get a level 50 Love Thumper. And in 41 runs, I got the most insane godly Love Thumper. I could not believe my eyes. So we headed back to UVHM and started doing some melee. At this point, my goal was to push through the main story and get to the big XP farm. So we slashed our way through Boom Boom, and then Captain Flint actually escaped the locking technique, so I had to finish him off fast before he jumped into the fire phase. Luckily, we got him. From here, we raced to Sanctuary, nothing eventful really happened. We poke our way through Frost Spring Canyon, used the V-Shield strats on the cars at the dust again, stabbed Bad Maw, poked our way through Bloodshot Stronghold, poked Warden, you get the point. Poke, 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 not poke. Yeah, Wilhelm can be a little bit tricky with melee. I didn't want to risk anything, so a Drunk Effect Herald just kind of wiped him out fast. Again, we're trying to get to the big XP farm, so in order to get there, we need to rush the main story. At the Highlands, the Gluttonous Thresher dies to the Pimpernel and the V-Shield. Right after, we wipe out Overlook with melee, and it was finally time for the XP farm. And the farm we're going to be doing is McSafford. So we pick up the Clan Wars mission and melee our way through it. Bagman gave me a little bit of trouble because he teleported away before I got the kill, but we were able to pick him off pretty fast. Alright, now for the big strat. Remember earlier we farmed a Tricky Spy class mod and a Shock Relic? In your skill tree, if you do 11 out of 5 on Unforeseen and 10 out of 5 on Ambush, and then slap on the Shock Relic, your Unforeseen Shock Nova will barely be enough to one-shot McSafford. Oh, and you must apply Deathmark too to get the one-shot. So basically, you spawn in, you poke him to apply Deathmark, and then the Shock Nova blows him up and he dies. Cool thing about this farm is not only do you get a bunch of XP, but because the damage from Unforeseen is based off your level, we can do this without ever farming gear all the way up until level 80. Nearly 30 levels with the same gear. Haha. We do this farm all the way up until level 80, and it only took 2 hours. I know 2 hours feels like forever, but Zero is the fastest XP farmer in this game. That's way better than 3 hours or even longer with the other characters. Now that we're level 80, all of our gear dropped off, so now we have to farm a lot of stuff. For the first farm, we decided to do the Topnia farm because, you know, there's no enemies around, and I don't have any items on levels, so I need some easy damage. We got a Shock Topnia, and we called it good there. Right after, I wanted the Unkempt Herald, so we went over to Savage Lee. Luckily, we still had one thing that was on level outside of the Topnia. Our Skyrocket. Yep, Skyrocket damage is based on your level, so it's going to do plenty of damage. Also, bro dropped me a Deepa, but it was level 78. I'm not going to be too picky on this because it's good enough. Then I decided to kill some time with something we did not need at all, and that was to get a sham for rocket ammo regen. I thought maybe if I run out of rocket launcher ammo at the peak, we could have a way to regen rockets. Unfortunately, I never actually used it for the run, and I spent over 2 hours trying to get a sham from Bunker. It's fine though, I had fun. That's all that matters. Also, you might notice I'm killing TVHM level 52 Bunker. The sham level really doesn't matter if I'm using it for regen, so why not farm in a safer playthrough? At this point in progression, I do want to beat the main story first, and I thought, hey, we did melee earlier and it worked pretty well, so what if we do melee again and beat the main story with that? So I farm a decent Love Thumper, and it was back to the melee build. While melee is risk and reward, there are some things I will not melee, especially in the one life, and that's going to be the 5 buzzards you have to kill over at Sawtooth Cauldron. So I decided to get a Hornet for them. Very good pistol. From here, we went back to normal mode and farmed Wilhelm for like 2 minutes. Yeah, super fast Logan's gun drop. This was for the rocket regen if I needed it, but again, never ended up using it. Hey, you're way better off being over-prepared than under-prepared. Finally, we went back to the main story and decided to push through. At the Wildlife Preserve, I did decide, you know what, we're level 80, let's go ahead and farm the Bone of the Ancients from the Lumidget farm. So we farmed that for a while to get our Shock Bone, our Corrosion Bone, and our Fire Bone. As for Bloodwing, I didn't want to take any chances doing melee, so we threw a few Skyrockets, and that's the boss. At 1000 Cuts, we did the usual melee and safely dodged all the mortars. And during the mortar section, I did forget that you do get buzzards. With us doing melee, I didn't want to take any risk, so I sat back and picked them off slowly. We meleeed the body double and then got all the voice modulators. Proceeding on here, we're headed to the bunker, and I do go on a fight for your life by this constructor. I mean, I knew they're not melee friendly, but I took the risk anyways. But luckily, we have our Topnia and get a second win. And then right after, something crazy happens. Check this out. Oh, shield's broken, cool, never mind. Boop. Huh? Dude, did the door turret drop that? Somebody clip it, somebody clip it. Dude, I saw it, I'm like, did I drop my gun? It's like, wait, that's a pearl, I couldn't have dropped that. Right there. Dude, what the heck? I didn't know that was possible. That turret dropped a sawbar. Yeah, we got a sawbar from the bunker door turret. I didn't even know they could drop gear. That's got to be one of my craziest wall drops ever. At this point, we've made our way to the bunker, and we have a full-blown build now, like I said, which means now we have Boar, and yeah, we're gonna go for the one-shot kill. If you don't know, Bunker has a weird hitbox, And when you use the bore skill, it will just multiply the pellet over and over in his hitbox, and he instantly dies. Also, no 94HM. Said. And now it's time for everybody's favorite control core. With Control Snorodine, we go into the loot room, and bro, another pearl. That's right, I don't know. I really wish I knew, but I don't. I guess that could be a sign of good things to come. And speaking of good things, we found a Shadow Stalker. +6 follow through and +5 ration shot. And also we found a legendary berserker, but we're not playing Cell. From here we head over to Sawtooth Cauldron, and this is the map I'm mostly worried about. So for the whole entire map, I pretty much hugged the grog while doing melee, because I really didn't want my health getting low. For destroying Boombringer, my choices were kill everything in the area, or take the risk and dash in and get it done and dash out. I decided to brute force it while chucking Teslas everywhere, and it worked out. Still a little bit scary though. And then this happened. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I kept watching it back, and some enemies somewhere got a fire damage over time on me. So I played it really safe, hid in the elevator, and let the enemies come to me. After we got them all, I camped the elevator and slowly picked off all the buzzards using the Hornet. Surprisingly, that part really wasn't bad. We check out all the pumping stations over at the Boneyard, and now we're off to the Badlands. For Saturn, I was going to use my old Sandhawk and use the B-Shield, but I kind of forgot we never did farm a level 80 B-Shield, so I had to slowly spray him down with the Hornet. It did work though. And then I do something stupid. Yeah, I chucked a Tesla, forgot it had a fuse, and walked right into it as it blew up. Luckily, we have our launcher and get a second win. But it really does show, you know, UVHM things are ramping up quite a bit. And then this constructor, I don't know what it was, but I was just like playing ninja around him. And I really wanted to make sure I was full HP before I jumped off the platform. Just like that, the Badlands are done, and now we're gonna go finish off the main story. Or at least try to. I don't know, man. Maybe we die? Suspense or something. Alright, I'm kidding. I'm just having fun with the commentary, just because, you know, why not? We do melee at the front door, and also use the Hornet to destroy the surveyors. And now it was time for Hero's Pass. I did get pretty lucky running through here because enemies were missing all their bullets. Like, that's complete RNG. Sometimes enemies hit you, sometimes they miss. They missed a lot. We make our way to the Vault of the Warrior and take on the final boss. For Jack, I did want to use melee, but I decided not to. So instead, I spammed the Topnia, and he died pretty fast. For Warrior, yeah, I'm not meleeing that. I just spammed the Herald for a bit, and eventually he fell. And then I decided to have some fun and thought, you know what? Let's get a Corrosion conference call for the peak or something. I don't need it, but I was just like, it's a free farm, why not? And dude, let me tell you, I regret. We were there for nearly 2 hours and didn't even get a Corrosion one. But we did find a new fire one, and I just took that. Sometimes you get wrapped up into farming and don't realize how long it could take. Just like that, we have successfully completed UVHM. At this point, we do need to gear up for DigiPeak. And the first thing on my list is a Corrosion Topnia, so we go back to the Writhing Deeps, and we get it in 2 runs. Yep. I guess the game felt bad after farming for the Corrosion conference call. Next up, I do want to get myself a B-Shield, and just like we did at the Dust, we are going to be doing car strats. So if you don't know, if you're in a car while holding the Lady Fist, and you put on a B-Shield, which, by the way, we don't currently have a B-Shield, but we're trying to get one, you can transfer the 800% crit and also amp damage to your bullets on your car. So all we gotta do is have him jump down, knock him over, and then just spray him in the face. It is a pretty fast and safe farm for 1 life. Man, I wish I would have known about this strat back then when I did 1 Life Maya, because then I wouldn't have to farm those stupid trees. Man, we did so many runs on trees. Anyways, we eventually get the B-Shield, and it was now time to climb the overpowered levels. Our build is super straightforward, Slag, Deathmark, and then Hornet B-Shield. Plus, OP0 is not very difficult, so I'm not going to bore you with the details here. We spray everything down and take on the first mini-boss of the DigiPeak, the 4 Assassins. These guys really aren't that bad, especially if you know about the pipe strat. There's a metal pipe in the back of the arena, and if you stand behind it, the assassins pretty much cannot hit you. Well, except for Wreath. Wreath is the only one who can, like, walk back there. I don't know, maybe he has a smaller hitbox or something, I don't know for sure. So whenever we see Wreath, we need to take him out fast. Also, if you throw down a Tesla, it will stop him from throwing the fire axes at you. So we do that, take out the 4 assassins, and just like that, we have OP1. Oh, and Watt dropped us a Flying Emperor, but too bad the item's trash. Going from OP1 to OP2, we are going to use the exact same setup. Like, you don't need to farm new gear yet if you have played thousands of hours in this game. And for OP1, it's pretty much a lot of the same thing, just some more Slag Centurions. They're a little bit more annoying to take out, but they're not too bad. We do get 1 Scourge, but with it being a 1v1, it's not that hard to take on. B-Shield, Super Old Lady Fist, aim for the crit, he dies. After a bunch of mobbing, we make our way to the Assassins again, do the exact same thing as last time, and just like that, we have OP2. I just want to point out, I barely routed this run, and we're making, like, really good progress. I am super happy with this 1 life so far. Now that we're OP2, I pushed the peak again. I didn't farm new gear. We're using the same stuff still. For OP2, it's mostly the same. You just have a few more surveyors. So not a whole lot changed between OP1 and 2. Just, you know, enemies have more HP and damage reduction. So we sit back, spam our B shield, and everything pretty much dies. Oh yeah, we are introduced to Bonehead 2.0 at this peak level. But Bonehead's not that much harder than a normal enemy, so I don't know. I don't really consider him a boss. At the Assassins, we camp, we spam, and yeah, OP3, we got it. At this point, I do want some new gear. My gear is dropping off, I can feel it. So we go back to normal mode and spam the bar room with our Topnia to get a bunch of tokens. Even with Topnia spamming, this does take a while to do. But I really want a nice Herald because those slag-based enemies, you know, the enemies that you cannot slag at the peak, they're not fun to kill, so I want something with a little bit more damage. After getting the tokens, we go back to UVHM and farm a Herald out of the vendor. We found a decent roll. We don't need a perfect roll yet. So I bought that, and we were off to farm a new Corrosion Topnia. Oh, 18 runs. I don't know what it is about the Topnia farm, but man, we're getting lucky on this. And then I decided to do something really stupid. No, we don't die yet, but I decided, yo, what if we go get the Orc in normal mode from Tina DLC? And we try the Orc swapping strats on 0 for some big damage. I'm gonna skip over this part because it's a long, pointless grind for the video. We pushed through the entirety of Tina DLC in normal mode and then did a bunch of like side farming for no reason. Yeah, this is super inefficient. Why am I doing this? Long story short, we got the Orc, we tried it for the build, and like it was not worth it on 0. 0 doesn't have the craziest swap speed or synergy with the Orc. That's mostly for Salvador, Accident, or even Krieg. Oh well, back to the real grind. We go get ourselves a new B shield, and this B shield was really bad. But you know what? In my mind, I just said, we're early OP levels. We don't need the overgrind, so I took it. I vendor farm for a new Tesla grenade for my healing. And I'm sure some people are wondering, why not get a Chain Lightning? Chain Lightning's one chuck for one set of healing. But for a Tesla, it will sit on the enemy and fry them over and over. And with that, I can constantly heal, which is quite nice. Plus, it's a lot easier and safer to get to. Alright, back to the peak. I decided, what if I just do my old Sandhawk with the B shield? And while this did big damage, it wasn't the best idea. You see, once the B shield breaks, I have no damage. Remember, this Sandhawk is like level 30. So if the B breaks, my only choices for damage are a Herald and a Topnia. I decided to push through and just play very safely, just sit back really far. And for the most part, it worked out. Oh yeah, this happened too. What was that? Huh? Dude, I saw the pearl drop too. What is this playthrough? We just got a random pearl from a Psycho. Another pearl, this time a wool drop from a Psycho. Oh, and Scorch dropped a Hellfire, that was pretty cool. We now meet the Black Queen, and Black Queen's not too bad. The rule of thumb is, if boss doesn't shoot bullets, easy boss. For the 4 assassins, same strat, nothing changed. We do a bit more mobbing, and just like that, we have OP4. Now, I need to take it a lot more seriously because OP4 is turret peak. So there's gonna be a lot of turrets everywhere shooting, breaking your B shield, and yeah. I need a better gun. So, we head off to Scarlet DLC and get ourselves a Corrosion Pimpernel. I realized my weapon choice wasn't the best to take on the DLC, so we headed out of it, went to the Jacob's Grave and the Fight for Sanctuary DLC, and found a very nice quad. Much better. We head back to Scarlet DLC and do this strat where you sit really far back and pick off the boats with my old Pimpernel and my B-Shield. These boats cannot leave a specific radius, so we're pretty safe back here. Oh, and I do want to mention for the community One Life rules, you are allowed to drop your OP level back to OP0, and that will make rushing through the DLC quite a bit easier. Don't worry though, at the end of the challenge you do have to reset your UVHM and do all the content on OP10, but we're not quite there yet. So we safely get through the DLC, and then it was time to farm my OP4 Pimpernel. And yeah, at this point I put my OP level back up to 4. After that, I did want to get a new B-Shield. We probably didn't need to, but I was at the point where I was going to farm every OP level, just to make sure my gear stayed on level. I was extremely nervous, and I did not want to take any risks. So, I was like, you know what? I have not upgraded any of my SDUs that much for the playthrough, and we already beat the Tina DLC in normal mode, so why not go farm the normal mode Ancient Dragons for a crap ton of Iridium? That's exactly what we did. We stayed there for a while, got all the Iridium, upgraded all of my SDUs, and at this point I felt very comfortable, and I said, alright, let's take on OP4. Like I mentioned, OP4 is turret peak, so there's going to be turrets everywhere. The plan, sit far back, pick them off with the new Pimpernel, and slowly but safely push our way through the OP4 peak. Oh, and a little fun fact for you, when you're using a weapon, everything except for rocket launchers, if you have 40% or less of your max ammo capacity for that specific weapon type, for example, I can hold 132 sniper bullets. If I get to that 40% threshold, which is about 52.8 bullets, basically get 52, rounded down, then the game's gonna be like, oh hey, you're low on sniper ammo. Let me go ahead and give you a bunch of sniper ammo out of the ammo crates, or any lootable that gives you ammo. Take advantage of that. We had another double scorch, and luckily they overlap perfectly to give me a boar kill. And of course another hellfire, but we don't need that. Right after, Black Queen dropped me a nukem, so that's pretty cool. It's always nice to see a legendary. Now we have our first Doc Mercy, and luckily he decided to taunt, so it gave me a lot of free time to take him out. The 4 assassins go as planned, the mobbing goes as planned, and of course, we got OP5. At this rate, I knew I could achieve OP10, and there was nothing in my way to stop me. I just had to play it safe, play it slow, do all the farming. So we got a first try Corrosion Topnia. I don't get it. How? We got a new B shield, and it had really good parts on it. Then I wanted a better Tesla to make sure I got fast healing. And we rolled a longbow, 0 fuse, max radius, purple rarity, Tesla. But dude, it dropped an OP3. Why? Why does it do that? We're OP5, but it rolled OP3. I did decide to take it because it was a purple rarity. And just like that, we were ready to take on OP5. For OP5, we now have to take on the binary boss at the end of the peak, but we're playing Zero, and Zero can do the thing, so we'll show it off when we get there if you don't know. So, we sit far back, pick him off with the Pimpernel, and that's the whole gameplay loop. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it. The only highlight from this peak run is we got a double nukem from the double Black Queens. Why are we having so many rare moments? We do the usual and make our way all the way to the end to the binary boss. From OP5 and beyond, you will always have to fight this guy at the end. So, yeah, we just do this to kill the boss. Just like earlier when we killed Bunker, the boar thing works on binary boss too. So if you shoot the connection area between the turret and his body, the boar skill will just instantly kill him. I do want to point out that this is a normalized thing in Borderlands 2. Everybody does it for one life, for casual runs, whatever. It's been widely accepted that anything boar related is fair game. Now that we made our way to OP6, we have a big challenge up ahead. We now have to fight Dukino's mom at the peak. And Dukino's mom is arguably the hardest part of the Digi Peak runs, and she is responsible for many deaths in one life runs. I've seen it time and time again, and it sucks. It's at this point that a lot of like hardcore one life runners that do one life a lot, they go out of their way to do critical ascension stacking for massive sniper damage. Like that's gonna be the best way to take on Dukino's mom if you're playing Zero. But I decided, what if I don't need to? I mean, do I really want to go out of my way and get a low-level stacking sniper, longbow slag transfusion, sniper max ammo relic, chaotic neutral rogue class mod, an antagonist shield, and a bunch of on-level Ayudas? It would be the smarter way to go. But after realizing that would probably take like, I don't even know, to farm all that stuff, 8 hours maybe? I'm just kind of guessing here. I decided, you know what, I've done a lot of Zero for just random challenge runs or casual runs. And I've been pretty good about just doing Pimpernel B shield through the whole entire peak. It's minimal farming, very strong, so I decided I'm gonna go that route. So, we got a new B shield, we got a new Corrosion Topnia, we got a random Herald just for health sapping if I have to survive the shock ball attack from Dukino's mom, and it was finally time to take on OP6. I take a deep breath, head on in, and I pray for the best. We make our way to Dukino's mom's area, and if you don't know, when you kill all the enemies in this area, you have a 1v1 with Dukino's mom. That means if you go in a fight for your life, you don't have any second wins around. Your only way to second win is the boss itself. Dukino's mom spawns in, immediately goes for a shock ball attack, but luckily it was only one ball. I spam my Corrosion Pimpernel and the B shield. She does shock ball attack again, but luckily it was a short barrage. And then with a bit of luck, she does the roar, which is the best cycle you want. We spray at the crit area, and we got the kill. We survived Dukino's mom. But we're only OP6, so technically we still have to kill her another, what, 4 times? If I want to, you know, complete the run. Let's hope my luck holds up. Oh, for Black Queen, this happened. Oh. My frames dropped too. Dude, the toes overlapped. That was a chunky boar. Everything goes as planned, we sit back, pick him off, and make our way to the final boss again, and yeah, boar. It's nearly impossible to fail the final boss fight. OP7, we are almost there. Can I make it to OP10? There's only one way to find out. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm farming the Topnia, then accidentally spawn Hatterax and he kills me. Let's see what happens. Alright, I think you've seen this enough. I do the same thing again. I get a B shield, I get a Corrosion Topnia, and then we head back to the peak, and yeah, this happens. I don't want to be here, yeah. When he threw the grenade, I just like changed my mind right away. I ain't dealing with that. Bruh. I was trying to beat out that attack there. That was my bad. We're fine though. That Nomad got a lucky snipe on me, and luckily I picked him off and didn't die. By the way, I'm sorry for playing with your feelings for this video. I'm just having some fun here. We didn't die yet, we're good, we're good. We make our way to Dukino's mom again, and this time for OP7, you get instant spawn Dukino's mom. This is a good thing, because during this fight, you get second wins if you were to go in a fight for your life. And lucky enough, I actually needed a second win, because shock ball attack got me. To be fair, I could have avoided it if I didn't fumble my guns, but I was like panicking and I was like, oh, what do I do? Click all these buttons. But yeah, she made me fall in the fight for your life, but luckily I have second wins this time around. If those second wins weren't there, that would have been the end of the run. The only other highlight for the OP7 run is you do have to fight the quad assassins, and by quad I'm talking about all 4 of them spawn all at once. So I need to make sure I kill Wreath really fast and then pick off the rest of them behind the pipe. Unfortunately, Wreath did give me a lot of trouble. He got back here before I picked him off. So I threw a bunch of Teslas and hugged the Grog nozzle for a minute. But the damage was so overwhelming that I did fall in the fight for your life. Luckily, we're farming Topnias every single OP level, so I was able to finish him off with that. We finished off the assassins, and it was time for the first Saturn. I don't think I need to explain it much anymore, but Saturn, 0, Bore. All you gotta do is aim between the turret and his body, and he instantly dies. Boss down. We make our way to the binary boss, land a fat Bore. And there it was, OP8. Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I was shaking at the end of this OP level, and I was super duper happy we've made it this far. It's unfortunate though, because this could have been, you know, maximum level if they never added the OP10 patch. But because of that, we still have 2 more to go. New B-Shield, new Topnia, new Longbow Tesla, and we were now ready to take on OP8. So the issue with OP8 is it becomes unpredictable. And what I mean by that is each area is going to be a random draw from some OP level. The first area could be a section of turret peak, and the second area could be the generation where you get a bunch of slag enemies and But the worst part is Dukino's mom. We can either get instant Dukino's mom where we get second wins during the fight, or the peak will randomize 1v1 with Dukino's mom and you don't have any second wins. Thank goodness we did get the instant spawn, so we do have second wins during the fight, and we get the best cycle yet. She doesn't attack and just stalls. What a relief. Oh, we get another Nukem too. What is with the Nukums? For Doc Mercy's area, I rolled the worst spawn pattern and I had this ultimate psycho coming at me. My B-Shell was down, so I just threw him off the cliff with a singularity. I love that strat. For the assassins, we randomized double spawns, which is ideal. We took out Wreath and the rest was a breeze. For the next area, because we are OP8+, you will always get a double Saturn spawn. Fun fact for you, if you push up really slowly, you can spawn 1 Saturn at a time, and that's going to make the fight a lot more safe. Oh, also first try Bore insta-kill on both. I'm pretty happy about that. The only boss left was the binary boss. Boop. Just like that, we are now OP9. Dude, 1 more to go, we are just about there. New Topnia, new B-Shield, and it was finally time to push for OP10. Scorch was a butt, I couldn't land a crit with my Pimpernel, so it did take a while to kill them, but eventually we did get the kill. And then we rolled the dice for Dukino's mom RNG, and yeah. We rolled the bad pattern, so now we have the 1v1 Dukino's mom, no second wins. She immediately goes into shock ball attack, but luckily I was prepared. I kept telling myself the button combination in my mind, and luckily I was able to heal fast, and we took her down. What a relief. Also, I killed so many Doc Mercies during the peak runs, and like, not one infinity. Dude, my infinity luck is pretty bad. Now, I wish I could tell you that the rest of the peak was interesting, but it was more the same. We randomized double assassin, so Wreath was easy. We bore double Saturn. And then I messed up the Bore. Oops. So enjoy my live reaction. Of course, the binary boss won't be free. And there we go. OP10, guys. Woo! Let's go. First time hitting OP10 for a 1 life, too. Dude, no critical ascension either. I just B-shielded my way through it. It's so lame. But hey, if it works, right? I cannot believe that we actually made it to OP10. I am super stoked. At this point, we have to farm a lot of things for OP10, and this can take many, many, many hours. We farm all the elements for the Topnias, we get a new B-Shield, but this time I was picky and wanted to get a decent B-Shield. Like, this is my final B-Shield, so I wanted to make sure it was a decent one. We go back to normal mode and shoot the walls in the bar room for a bunch of tokens, because I want to get myself a really nice Herald. After getting all the tokens, we farm the vendor in UVHM for a perfect, hard, unkempt Herald. Now you might be thinking, yo, why are you not getting a perfect Deepa? Well, on 0, you really are better off going for the damage prefix or the fire rate prefix. 0 doesn't have the best recoil reduction, so you're gonna miss a lot of Deepa pellets. Oh, also getting this perfect hard Herald took a really long time, and we actually found 3 perfect Deepas in the vendor during the farm. It did feel a little bit bad to pass them up. We went to South Paul Steam and Power and farmed the vendor for a new Tesla. And for some reason, this was the longest Tesla farm yet for the playthrough. I just could not roll a longbow 0 fuse, but eventually I got it. It was now time to get my Lady Fist because I need a shock one to take on Jagenstein in the Hammerlock DLC. And I decided to be pretty stupid and do the Fabled Tortoise strat, so you can see in the bottom left corner I don't have a shield on. I'm actually wearing a Fabled Tortoise, but it's subtracted from the sniper comm so you can't visually see it. So with this setup I'm getting 50% movement speed, but I don't have any shield to protect me. OP10 plus no shield, not the smartest thing. I decided because we are playing Zero, I can just pop Deception to get away if I need to. Because every single farm I gotta deal with these loaders in front of the mailbox for the Lady Fist. So all I did was, if I ever get shot by a bullet, I activate Deception, throw Kunai, heal up, turn in the Lady Fist, run to this corner here, wait for everything to become unmad, and then once I'm safe, I can save quit and do the farm again. Oh, this Shock Lady Fist took forever to get to. I don't know what it is, but once I got to OP10, all of my luck for farming has just went down the drain. I didn't mention it earlier, but the top tier farming took like almost an hour. Yep. After doing the stressful Lady Fist farm, I wanted to chill for a bit, so we went over to Heroes Pass and farmed that red chest for a long time. Oh, and I found another storm too. That was cool. My main goal was to get a few decent blue or purple rarity Vladoff snipers. We were able to find those, and the reason I want those is because I have to get 3 brand new Pimpernels, right? And for the one life rules, if you're farming a mission reward, you can only take 1 copy of said mission reward. So if I want to get myself a Corrosion, Shock, and Fire Pimpernel, I have to reset my story 3 times. But we're on OP10, and if I want to survive this, I need all the damage. It was finally time to reset my UVHM playthrough. We did that, and now we can farm another Pimpernel. I get my OP10 Shock Pimpernel, reset the story, run through the DLC again, I get my Fire OP10 Pimpernel, reset the story once again, and then finally I get my OP10 Corrosion Pimpernel. Man, that took a long time, but it was worth it. Now that we had all the Pimpernels, I thought, you know, the Sandhawk's just right around the corner, let's go ahead and grab one of those. We farmed that for a good bit, and we found a Flying Fire Sandhawk. Now, I didn't really need this, but, you know, what if there's that situation where I run out of ammo for snipers, and I need some sort of damage backup, so better safe than sorry. And now it was finally time for the true end challenge. We have to restart our story one more time, and at this point, we have to lock ourselves to OP10, beat the main story, beat all 5 campaign DLC stories, beat all 5 Headhunter stories, and then run OP10 at DigiPeak one more time. If you can do all of that, the challenge will be completed. Let's do this. Right away, we head over to Tina DLC to get the grog. Yeah, unfortunately, the grog is a mission item, so if you restart your playthrough, you have to get it again. We encounter OP10 Bony Pants, and I just sit pretty far back with the B shield, and he wasn't too much trouble. The main threat in that area is going to be the archers, so I had to stay really far back from them. Over at Flame Rock, just a bunch of running around, nothing really happened. And then we make our way to the forest, and this map, you don't have to kill anything. You just have to get the 3 blood fruits, and then you're out. We make our way to the Immortal Woods, and this is the scary map. We have to take down 3 dragons, and then the 4 kings right after. So, in order to safely take down the 3 dragons, we're going to bait a bunch of halfling skeletons over. And thanks to the silliness of health regen and damage reduction on OP10, these halflings will aggro the dragons and they pretty much cannot kill them. So I can sit really far back and pick them off with the Pimpernel and the B-Shield. And for the most part, this area is pretty free. We head over to the 4 Kings, and this area has me a little bit worried. Like I mentioned way earlier in the video, if you go on a fight for your life, 9 times out of 10 you cannot second win due to the Eternal Skeletons not giving you second wins. We got super lucky though because Roland did aggro the 4 Kings quite a bit, so they weren't even like focused on me much. So all you gotta do is bust out your Lady Fist, B-Shield, spray them down, and then when the head pops off, you want to go ahead and use the Herald and B-Shield because you cannot crit them at this point, and they have a funky hitbox where the Herald pellets can all hit, which is quite nice. We take down the 4 Kings, rush to the Mines of Avarice, and got ourselves the grog. Whew, thank goodness. The ruby's not bad, but the grog is just so much better. Now, I was all geared up and ready for the main story. At Southern Shelf, I just sit way back, pick them off slowly, and it's a very slow playstyle, but it's extremely safe, and this is not a speedrun. I'm gonna take my time. We make our way to Boom Boom, and Boom Boom wasn't too bad, but I had to be really careful because they have torch shotguns. And if you don't know, if they shoot a torch shotgun pellet as I kill them, that pellet can hit me after they're dead and then throw me in a fight for your life, and I don't have a second win. So I use every bit of terrain to my advantage, and it worked out pretty well. Boss down. From here, I stealth my way through all the bandits and throw down Teslas if I need it, and my plan backfired. That's the very tricky question in One Life, like, should you kill everything along the way or avoid stuff? If you kill everything, then you're taking on even more combat, so more of a risk of dying. But if you skip the optional stuff, they could just hit you in the back. I don't think there's a perfect answer for those questions. Anyways, we're fine. We make our way up to Captain Flint, and of course, I sit really far back, pick him off, but I could not find Captain Flint in the mess of enemies. He actually made his way all the way over to me, and then he did his jump attack and made his way up on top of this like glitch collision. So I did panic a little bit and backed up and thought, okay, maybe if we wait long enough, he'll, you know, fall back down or something. We'll be okay. But then the unfortunate happens. What? What? But, dude. We're fine. Dude! I dropped my pimp up there too. I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, okay, I need to stay here and not run away because he's my only target for healing and whatever I need. Okay, I tripped a previous save, so does that mean he's gonna go back to the platform or what? Wait. Okay, he's back up top. Cool, 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 cool. I freaked out, didn't I? Oh, my pimper now. Thank you. Yeah, dude glitched through the wall and then like actually almost killed me. But luckily, after falling down, the whole fight did reset, so he went back to his original position. And then from there, I was able to finish him off before he made his way over. Dude, out of my thousands of hours of playing this game doing challenge runs, I've never seen him do that before. That was scary. We make our way to Three Horns Divide and stealth our way through. And after getting a wake-up call from Captain Flint, I did not want to take any risk if I don't have to. So I baited over the core lunatic to the exit of the camp. Took him out, got the core, and we were off to Sanctuary. In Sanctuary, of course, nothing happened, so off to Frostspring Canyon. For this map, the only required mobbing's at the very end, so we stealth our way through, meet up with Lilith, and then sit really far back with the B-Shield Pimpernel, and slowly, one by one, pick off all the enemies. We make our way to the dust, and this is the part where I would do B-Shield car, but I didn't want to take any risk. Like, sure, the cars are easy because they scale kind of funny in the later levels, but the enemies in the backseat of the cars still have OP-10 guns. So if they shoot my car with that, I'm just gonna die. To counter this, we just hide on the ramp and shoot them with the Corrosion Pimp. And after we get the 2 pieces, I save quit, jump back in, and get the cars in this beginning area one more time. After getting the 5 vehicle parts, I learned something new. Apparently, when you pick up the 5th one, you get a bonus car spawn. Good thing I saw him on my minimap, because he could have ran me over and ended my run. As for Bad Maul, not that big of a deal. He dies pretty fast. And now it was time for Bloodshot Stronghold. I was in this map for a long time. I took it so slow, but in the end, it did pay off, and we were able to get through pretty safely. I did choose not to kill Mad Mike because I didn't want to deal with him, because it can go one of 2 ways. He spawns in with a really bad launcher and it's a cakewalk, or he spawns in with a really good launcher and he can down me. Oh, and if that launcher was Malawan too, it could like really mess me up. Over at Bloodshot Ramparts, we stealth our way through and take down Warden. And when it comes to mobbing loaders, they're one of the easiest enemy types to kill in the game, so they really weren't that bad. Over at Tundra, this whole entire map doesn't require any mobbing, so we stealth our way through once again and make our way to Wilhelm. But this guy, it went extremely well. He didn't actually attack at all, and I was able to spray him down pretty fast. Boss down. Now we were off to the Highlands. For this area, all of the mobbing is not required, so I stealth past it and take on the Gluttonous Thresher. Bro died so fast. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like his HP doesn't scale good in the OP levels. Like, he really wasn't that hard. Over at Overlook, we sit way back and pick him off slowly, and it goes without saying, this took a long time. Slow and steady wins the race. We make our way back to Sanctuary and then head off to the Wildlife Preserve. And for the most part, this area is just the same thing. You sit back, pick it off slowly. So we did that and made our way all the way to Bloodwing. For Bloodwing, I was a little bit worried because flying enemies can go pretty bad. And I could not recall how much damage we could do on OP-10 on this boss. And then I pull off an extremely lucky moment. Bloodwing shoots a fireball, it hits me, and I got so lucky because I didn't take any fire damage over time. There is a really high chance you take a fire damage over time when that happens. But I rolled the low chance and we survived. If I did burn there, it would have been the end of the run. We got so lucky. Anyways, Bloodwing falls, and now we're off to 1000 Cuts to say hi to Brick. I do the usual, I chuck down Teslas and stealth my way through, and then we have to mob a bunch of bandits. I found this corner with a one-way path up to it, so I'm able to sit back and pick off the enemies, and if anybody makes their way to the staircase, I will see them. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best cover, but I mean, it's all that we had. So my B-Shield kept breaking over and over, and I had to wait for it to come back. So we take advantage of a niche strat, and that's going to be putting on a T-Door shield to get your shield back up, and then swapping back to the B-Shield to have your full amp back. After finishing off the last of the enemies, we pulled a Legendary Soldier, and we go back to that easy Corrosion Pimpernel loader mobbing. Ah, it's so satisfying. Because the mortars are pretty non-stop, I wanted to make sure the area was safe up ahead, so I shot out any explosive barrels that lied in the path. We make our way to the final beacon, and... Dude. Oh no, that's it. That's it. That's it. Dude, I was out of the beacon range. It wasn't even showing up here. Are there any enemies anywhere? I don't think there are. Yeah, there's nothing here, man. We're gonna fall down. Try to destroy this, get the super bat in or ulti bat, and try to second win him. The time frame of that seems kind of long, and I don't think we can pull it off. So here we go. He's around the corner. No! No! Rip. Alright, one life over. Hey, we got the OP10. I'm happy. I'm happy. Yep, that's it. We died. Man, we made it so far, and I was super happy with the run. But unfortunately, stuff like that can happen at any time. So what happened here is, after watching it back, is we discovered that the mortar can impact the player, even before it hits the ground. So if you were to rocket jump really high up in the air while the mortar's still like 50,000 feet in the air, that mortar can one-shot you in midair. These mortars are some of the few things in the game that can avoid your health gate. So even if you're full HP, you will just get one-shotted. I just want to point out too, I've taken this upper path on this story mission so many times, and not once has this ever happened. It truly was a case of wrong place, wrong time. To make matters worse, you cannot second win on the beacon. I was just trying to destroy it to get the enemy to spawn in. And here we have a 50-50 shot at getting the loader to spawn left side or the right side. If he would have spawned on the right side, I probably would have been fine to get a second win. But he spawned on left side and was behind the crate, so I couldn't slag him, and with the top Nia, couldn't finish him off. Oh well, it was a good run. But hey, new personal best, I'll take it. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching this long video. If you could, I would really appreciate it if you guys drop a like and a comment. I spent a long time on this video. The whole run was 65 hours long. But yeah, if you're feeling generous, I would really appreciate it. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Have an awesome day, and peace out.